That's awkward. Hello, Miss Citizens to second block. Try that again. Hello, Miss Citizens Oceanography class. Second block, of course. I'm Alex Westover, as you know, and welcome back to Oceanography Daily Vlog number 1. Not welcome back, you're just kind of here. Looking at coastline geography, coastline habits and actions, and then also some coastal organisms. Basically whatever I can find on the beach or on the intercoastal waterways around here without getting really dirty. So yeah, hope you all are staying safe. Let's go learn about oceanography. Cue the montage. Hello, so first off we're going to start our way inland and then work our way off to the shore. I am starting here in front of what's called a tidal lagoon of sorts. As you'll see behind me, you see this big marshy area right back through here, and then you have the tidewater lagoon back there. You may notice that there is no entrance to the ocean. You cannot actually hear the ocean in this recording. This is because it is fed through underground, the water table effectively. This is not the freshwater aquifers that we know and love in terms of our wells at home or wells that you get fresh water from. You see there's algae growing on the surface of all that, and this is all saltwater reeds and plants growing here. You can actually see there's an ibis flying back there. Another ibis, it's pretty cool. Water level does not flow in and cause it to rise. It flows from the bottom up and through the water leaching through the rock at the base of the pond and filling it up. And so you'll see actually right behind me, I don't know if you can see it back there. So underneath that red house, you will see the water looks almost still. And that's because the algae is now sat upon the dirt or mud below it. So yeah, cool stuff. Now, you might be wondering, what lives here? Very good question. As you'll see in front of me, there's a lot of actually salt water, except for these. These are like hedges that the golf course I'm on has. You move out there, you do actually have some palm trees that are native that sit here. And then you have the rest of your saltwater, brackish water grasses that grow around here. That has to be very resilient because, as we learned in class, the intertidal zone is here. It's an inland version of the intertidal zone. So the water level is rising and falling daily. So different parts of those plants are exposed to different parts of the water and to open air all in the span of one day. Now, let's go ahead a little bit further offshore. Now, we have moved a little closer to the sea ocean, pardon me. Ocean's now back there, all the way back in the distance. And we are now next to, on this side of me, on that side of me, this is another one of those tidal-filled bodies of water that is also kind of inland, but this is not fed through groundwater. This is fed directly by the ocean. So all the way back there is an inlet. This, through, I believe it was Hurricane Matthew, don't quote me on that. Hurricane Matthew came through and kind of went bam. All the dunes are gone. And then we now have back there a cut in the dunes where the water decided to start flowing in and now fills this up. This is a great example of a small ecosystem that you can go find at a beach and find a ton of great small life in. I'm actually going to walk down towards it a little bit. Just come with me. So I don't know if you can see it on the ground here, but on the ground there are tons of tracks of birds. Looking into the water some, it's a little muddy. Looking at a couple of crabs actually walking through here, which are part of the benthos, by the way. Even though they are close to the surface, they're still benthos animals, as they live and are stuck to the bottom. Crabs do not like to free swim. You're not going to go in the middle of the water and go oh hey, there's a crab swimming next to me. It just doesn't happen like that. So I'm going to set the camera up for a different angle and show you better exactly how this works. So, different angle, same lagoon. You'll actually notice the ground I'm standing on is alive. So I found a small spot where there isn't, but you'll notice that this entire section of darker coastline through here, I'll cut some B-roll in right here. Bam! Look at that, it's so cool. This entire section is actually alive. There is algae all along this entire shoreline, and other small bits of microscopic plants, which will be your phytoplanktons. They are part of the plankton life species. That would suck. Try that again. They are part of the plankton life type. You have plankton, nectin, and benthos. They're the plankton, so they like to float on the surface. They cannot swim very well. So when the tide comes out, if they get stuck on the side or on the shoreline, they cannot escape, and so they are stuck there during the day. However, what's interesting is they retain a lot of moisture. So the ground I'm standing on, see if you can listen to this. Kind of gross, I know. It's very moist. There's a lot of grass. Not that kind. You know what I meant. These are sand dunes. Really cool, actually. I'll get some beautiful footage in here of this. But so sand dunes are effectively giant moving barriers that in South Carolina are not as prominent as the Outer Banks, but still protect the shoreline from any kind of malicious weather or the tides and currents and waves that would otherwise affect our beaches. As you'll see behind me, for scale, I am 6'5", give or take like a half inch. The sand dune is, if I go stand next to it, not 6'5". I'd say it's a good solid 3-4 feet. Meanwhile, in the Outer Banks, you will get sand dunes that are significantly higher than that. You will get 10, 20, 30 feet. Sand dunes big enough to sled down if you're one of those people. And so that's the key difference here. This shoreline here is not a barrier island. It is simply the coastline of South Carolina. So these sand dunes behind me do not need to be as big. They've also been wiped away by various hurricanes. When Hurricane Florence came through here, that demolished all of these sand dunes because it was a slow, powerful storm that just kept bringing in storm surge to the beach. And when you have that kind of water energy hitting against the shoreline, sand, for example, not very strong substance. And so when you have a big, powerful force like that, like water and wind together, these sand dunes shift and become eroded and go back into the ocean. What's cool is in that B-roll I just showed you, and I'll show you again right here, you'll see that there are wind lines. These dunes are made of very fine powdery sand, not very dense sand like you see close to the water or where I'm standing right now. This sand is constantly in motion. On a really windy day, you'll see on beaches like a pattern of wind across the ground, so the sand particles being picked up and blown across the land. And so right now, it's daytime, so there is a sea breeze. Get to that in a minute. Just so you all are aware, I just filmed a 3-minute segment and just completely walked out of the camera's viewfinder. So that's how my life is going right now. Welcome to the ocean, oceanography class. Let's talk about some currents. As you'll see in front of me, there is a long strip in the ground. You can actually see it's long. It goes from about 100 yards that way to about 300 yards that way. So what this is the effect of current bending. So when a current comes, it goes whoosh into the shoreline, but then the sand's like, nah, dude, I don't want it. It takes the path of least resistance. So it comes in, and if the coastline is angled that way, it's going to go and follow the coastline up the coast, hence the coastline. It's going to follow it up. However, all the energy doesn't just stop dead in its tracks. It has to keep moving. So small eddies are formed. As the current gets turned, all the energy is directed down into the sand and carries some sand with it or other debris as it goes up the coastline. Now, one of the biggest problems here is during a hurricane or during any kind of tropical storm where there's a big storm surge, that pattern gets amplified. There's a lot of water, so wall water rushing the shore, and these current lines cannot move that water fast enough from the shore, so they get overwhelmed and it just hits the dunes. And so right now, as you'll see, it is low tide. So the water level right now is going down to about 0.3 feet underneath base sea level. High tide is 4.4 feet today. There is about 300 yards of open beach here. How does 900 feet of open beach turn into 4 and about a half feet of water? At high tide, where I'm standing right now, I'd be up to my waist in water, give or take about a foot. As this water comes in, as the moon revolves around the earth, this water gets pulled in and these waves back here become bigger. But it's not wave action that causes tides to increase or decrease. It's only gravitational pull. As that water is pulled over land, the actual height of the water begins to increase. As think about it, if the earth is a circle, water isn't being pulled latitudinally. That was a hard word. It's getting pulled that way. If the moon's right above me, water's getting pulled up. It's not being pulled towards me or towards you behind the camera. So as the water's being pulled up, it is becoming higher and higher and pushing into the sand. So that 4.5 feet, while it might be millions of gallons of water being pulled up, it's still 4.5 feet. Ooh, voice crack. 4.5 feet that pushes very far inland to the dunes where it finally stops when its rise does not meet the land's rise. So yes, there's some oceanography for you. And with that, I am going to conclude today's oceanography vlog, day number 1, by the way. Stay tuned tomorrow when we are going to look at the Kiowa River. I'm going to go get some B-roll this afternoon. We're going to talk about intercoastal waterways and tidal rivers tomorrow, or whenever the next day I decide to film something is. Oh, and there's a cute puppy dog. Say hi to puppy dog. Hey, puppy dog. He's cute. I don't think you can see him. He's back there now. Casually, I'm so popular right now. That's all for today, folks. Alex Westover, sign off. There's a lot of people here. Actually, there's barely any. There's 2 people back there. I don't know if you can see them. Who are just kind of watching me. So there's 2 ladies back there just watching me. Casual. I'm being eaten alive as well. Yeah, so second block oceanography with Miss Finnison. Hope you guys are all staying safe and staying socially distanced. I have no problem doing that as I have no friends.